Hey there, how to guys, it's Retired Elephant 1, and today I'm bringing you my review of Transformers Age of Extinction. So this movie is, of course, brand new, just came out, and it is directed by Michael Bay, written by Ethan Kruger, I believe, and it stars Mark Wahlberg, Nicola Peltz, and Jack Reiner. Are the main three stars, I guess. Stanley Tucci's in it also. But basically the plot of this movie is, reading straight off of IMDb, as always, an automobile mechanic and his daughter make a discovery that brings down the Autobots, and a paranoid government official on them. Now, we all know, I think most of us know, that the first Transformers movie was alright, and they've went downhill drastically from there. And I know that when I watched these trailers for this new movie, it looked pretty good, and I was kind of curious. I knew it wasn't going to be too good, but I was curious enough to go see it. I did go to a matinee, so it was very cheap, only $5 for the ticket, which was pretty much more than it was worth, the movie overall. Basically, this movie was shit. And there's some reasons for it. Mainly, I mean, this is supposed to be kind of a little bit of comedy mixed in with it, and I did not laugh once at one of the intended jokes. Now, I laughed in this movie because of how bad some of the stuff was, but I did not laugh once at the intended jokes. Also, the classic Michael Bay fireworks shooting off, the CG was not too great, the special effects were not very good, of course the storyline was not very good. The main thing that I had a problem with in this movie was the fact that all the characters seemed to think that we were blind, and my reasoning for that is every single character in this movie was explaining to themselves, they were talking to themselves, like no one else was in the shot except for them. They were saying, oh yeah, and look at that happen, and the camera shows it happen. Like they're saying exactly what's happening to themselves. Like no one does that. Like when you're at home by yourself, you don't narrate what you're looking at. People don't do that. But yet, in this movie, apparently these people are psychos, and they do it anyways. There's so many things wrong with this movie, so many plot points that don't make sense. There's just one storyline that just completely, just turns into ash. Like, there's a storyline, and you're like, huh, this is interesting, let's learn more about this. And then all of a sudden, the storyline is gone, and you never learn anything about the storyline. Like, what is that about? Again, not going to spoil anything. But this movie was just, it was crap packed into a thing and thrown at you to make money because people go watch Michael Bay films for some reason. I don't know why. It has very similar comedy style to Pain and Gain. So if you enjoyed that stupid humor in Pain and Gain, then maybe you'll enjoy this. But personally, I thought this movie was horrible. It was crap, filled in a bottle, and thrown at you. The characters were shit. They were so one layer characters. I'm very upset at this movie. Like, I didn't have high expectations, but I went in with an open mind, and this movie was by far one of the worst movies that I've seen in a long time. Because the characters were so one-dimensional. So one-dimensional. There's a few moments that I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. There was one shot in this movie that I really liked, and it wasn't even action or anything. And the amount of slow motion in this movie is absurd. Like, the movie runs, it's so long. The movie is 1 hour or 2 hours. 1 hour would be so much better. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes. It doesn't need to be 2 hours and 45 minutes. The reason it's 2 hours and 45 minutes is because of the amount of slow motion in it. Like, if they would have made those shots that were slow motion, normal scenes, like normal sped, you could probably cut like 30 minutes off the runtime. And then if Michael Bay would decide not to include these little things, like, you know how in action movies sometimes, in order to add comedic effect, they pick up on just some sort of random dude maybe sitting in his car just like jam into some beats or something while there's a huge war going on behind him, and then all of a sudden something crashes in next to him and suddenly he's a parent of the action happening that was right behind him, but like just for comedic effect. Now he does this, Michael Bay does this so much in this film, it gets watered down so quickly, and it's just ridiculous. Like, I think there's at least 5 times where this happens, where you're put in with these random people and you see them as they would experience the action, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm just kind of going off on a tangent. Dog, quiet down. But this movie is just, it's not good. I would recommend seeing it just to understand how bad a film can be, but don't go see it in theaters. Because you don't want another one of these movies. Honestly, if you go see it in theaters, the production company's gonna probably say, oh yeah, look at that, it made blah 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 amount of money, it's probably gonna make a couple $100 million, because of the name of it is Transformers. But I mean, it shouldn't make couple $100 million. Like, if this was an indie film, with the same exact movie, just an indie film, it would make maybe 1,000, maybe probably less than $1 million, because this movie is so bad. Like, no one wants to see it. I mean, there's probably people that want to see it, and I mean, maybe some people enjoyed it. I know the person that I went to go see this movie with did enjoy it, for what it was. I personally don't agree, but whatever. You can enjoy what you like. But personally, this movie is not for me, and for all the reasons that I've previously listed, this movie gets an F. Like an F-. Now, this is something that I've kind of been thinking about with my rating system. I only can kind of do like 1 through 5, sort of, if you think about it, because you have A, B, C, D, E, or A, B, C, D, F. Like, that's only 5, and then I can give minuses and pluses. So I'm thinking about possibly doing something out of 10 system, because if this was, like, sometimes there's films that don't deserve an F. They deserve like a 2 out of 10, and that's what this film deserves, is a 2 out of 10. But yeah, it gets an F by default, so you can't really measure all the F movies against each other technically. There's something a bit wrong with my system, but whatever, I'm gonna stick with it. So I just want you guys to know, if I do give a film an F, I'll give it a something out of 10 just for reference with other movies. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. If you did and want to see more, there's a playlist on my channel you can check out. I have 5 or so now. All new releases that have came out recently, so go check that out. Anyways, that's it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.